CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Both men convicted in a violent armed robbery, a smash and grab at a downtown Victoria jewelry store, will serve federal prison time. It's been almost a year since the two men pepper sprayed the store and then smashed display cases at the Palmyra Jewelers on 4th Street. Surveillance video that was entered as Crown evidence shows Michael Werner wielding a baton and a fake gun, smashing the display cases. He and another man stole about $300,000 in merchandise, but they didn't get far. Both were arrested downtown a short time later. Today in court, Werner was given a 5-year sentence for robbery and an additional year for use of an imitation firearm. Turns out he has 32 prior convictions, 4 of which are for robbery, including a jewelry store in Vancouver, where he stole about $100,000 worth of merchandise. Yesterday in court, his accomplice Dominic Wondolo was sentenced to 3 years for robbery and 1 year for use of an imitation firearm. Southern Vancouver Island was socked in this morning, or you might say tucked in, under a blanket of thick fog that came rolling in over the capital region. It made for some beautiful scenes around the inner harbor, but the pea soup was a travel headache for anyone who was trying to get off the island by float plane. All flights were delayed until about noon. Helijet was busing its passengers to the airport to catch their helicopter to the mainland.
Generally in the shoulder season, spring and fall, when things warm up, there's more humidity in the air, and we still have the cooler evenings, and it's quite common to have extensive fog in the mornings and evenings.
Aircraft on water need a half mile or 0.8 of a kilometer visibility to take off in the inner harbor. The pilots had to wait until about noon before the fog had lifted and they were able to get off the water and get their flights going to and from the mainland. And we are finding out tonight just how close the Canadian Cardinal came to becoming Pope. Cardinal Mark Ouellet was considered a front-runner for the papacy, and Italian media says in the early voting, Ouellet was tied with the Italian Cardinal for first place. Argentinian Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio was in third place at the time. The report says the Italian Cardinal could not gain further support, which put Ouellet in the lead. He then convinced his fellow cardinals to throw their support behind Bergoglio. It is fueling speculation that Ouellet may be positioning himself for an influential new position in the Vatican hierarchy. The frontrunner to lead the federal Liberal Party into the next election paid a visit to Vancouver Island today in Nanaimo. Justin Trudeau met with hundreds of supporters at the Port Theatre. It was his first public appearance since Marc Garneau dropped out of the race, saying no one could beat Trudeau for the party leadership. Many consider it a foregone conclusion that Trudeau will become leader of the Liberals when the party votes next month. But the candidate says there is still a long road ahead.
There is no such thing as a foregone conclusion in politics, and that's why from the very start of this race I have made the emphasis on a lot of hard work that we have to do together. Every step of the way is going to be a significant challenge. I'm pleased with the response we're getting from across the country. Very much.
Trudeau did not divulge much about what his policies and his priorities would be as Liberal leader, but he does say that Canadians from coast to coast to coast are tired of being cynical about their politicians. He also says Canadians should not be forced to choose between two parties on the left or the right. Family and friends and members of the Greater Victoria law community gathered today to say goodbye and to pay tribute to Victoria lawyer Doug Christie. Christie's service was held at St. Andrew's Cathedral in downtown Victoria. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2011 and died of liver disease earlier this week. Christie rose to national prominence, first as a Western Canada separatist leader, then representing many unpopular clients, such as Holocaust denier Ernst Zundel. Christie believed in the importance of defending free speech, particularly if you weren't comfortable with what was being said. His friends and peers say Christie was misunderstood and will be deeply missed.
Doug was a great man. He was, like I say, he's a gentleman, he's a scholar, he's unbelievable. He created the Canadian Free Speech League, and therefore he's my hero.
Christie died surrounded by his wife and children. His family says he wanted you to remember this quote, that freedom of speech is the thing you have to give to your worst enemies if you wish to keep it for yourself. Animal rescuers need help, and they say the time is running out to move 15 miniature donkeys off Vancouver Island. The animals are living in Greater Victoria, but the owner is ill and can no longer care for them. He reached out to a donkey sanctuary in the interior near Chase. The sanctuary's owners agreed to take the donkeys, but they say this is the largest group they have ever tried to rescue, and they need help to do it. Their rescue farm is at capacity right now with 39 donkeys, but they're planning to give the new shipment of donkeys veterinary care and will then foster them to homes in the Chase area.
Rehab them, get their health back and everything, then we can let them go out, into the public.
The sanctuary needs to raise $15,000 to cover the initial cost of transportation and the vet bills. Movers were hired for the end of the month, but they still need more money to cover the costs. To find out more, visit turtlevalleydonkeyrefuge.webs.com. Hydro crews have cut off the power to the tiny Vancouver Island village of Dididat after a substantial amount of copper wire was stolen. It's a dangerous situation. BC Hydro says the theft has made the community's electrical system unsafe and power must be shut off until the repairs are complete. Dididat is a First Nations community on the west coast of Vancouver Island near China Creek. There are 88 people who live there. BC Hydro's Ted Alnick joins us now by phone with more on what happened and why the power needs to go out tonight. Ted, thanks for being here. How much wire was stolen and what kind of wire was it?
It's copper wire, and we believe approximately somewhere from 200 to 300 poles along a remote stretch of about 62 kilometers. That wire has been stolen from China Creek to Dididat.
The copper grounding wire on the poles, extremely dangerous for whoever did this.
Well, not only is it dangerous for the criminals who stolen the copper wire, it's also extremely dangerous to the public and certainly to our crews doing the work there. And that's why we've had to take this unprecedented action of having to de-energize a whole community to make it safe. Because there's no grounding, what we've determined is that the only way to make it safe for our customers in the area and for the community is to de-energize the whole community until we can make it safe.
Do you have any idea how long it's been like this?
No idea exactly how long it's been like this. We have had reports from the community that it might have been a few months. We did some initial response to a trouble call the other day with regards to some electrical shock in an area. And we went in, made it safe, and when our crews were leaving, they noticed a number of wires were cut on some of the poles. And subsequently, we found out that it's probably upwards of 200 to 300 poles that have been compromised. You've
seen a lot of this kind of thing in your time at Hydro, but nothing on the scale of this.
No, this is quite an extreme situation where we have to de-energize the whole community to make it safe. And that's the priority of BC Hydro. First and foremost is safety to the public, safety to our crews, and that's something we can never compromise on is safety. We're talking about electricity here.
And what's Hydro doing for the 88 customers in Dididat tonight?
We've been in communication with them to let them know of the work we have to do, and we hope to have power restored to them by about 5 or 6 o'clock at the latest tomorrow, and we'll make an assessment at that point to see if further work needs to be done. But first, we have to make sure it's safe for the community so we can make the repairs.
All right, we'll stay on the story over the weekend. Hydro's Ted Alnick, thanks for taking time to join us tonight.
Thank you.
The president of the BC Teachers Federation is stepping down. Susan Lambert will leave at the end of the school year. She has been a sharp critic of the Liberal government, accusing it of underfunding education and violating teachers' rights. A teacher from Burns Lake, Jim Eicher, will be acclaimed as president at the Federation's annual meeting in Vancouver this weekend. In Nanaimo, the Teachers Association president hopes that Lambert's successor will carry some of her qualities.
I would expect the same. I think the membership still looks for that. I would imagine if the person coming in would certainly have to continue in that vein. I think that's the will of the membership at this point. And it's not only to look out just for teachers' concerns, but for public education as a whole. We are a social justice union, and we need to continue to strive towards that.
Members will also discuss education funding, collective bargaining, and political action that the BCTF may take during the upcoming provincial election campaign. Well, teens in Nanaimo are learning the ins and outs of automotive repair with some hands-on training. It's all part of a new national youth program called Skilled for Success. The program's a partnership between Boys and Girls Clubs of Canada and Cal Tire. Today, the teens from the Boys and Girls Club of Central Nanaimo rolled up their sleeves and got their hands dirty and their wheels spinning.
Probably the best thing was probably learning about all the different things and functions of an engine.
Getting this opportunity with community partners like Cal Tire gives them the experience. So not only the knowledge, but the experience in the skilled trades industry, but as well in other sectors as well too.
There is a labor shortage looming in the skilled trades. This program hopes to shed some light on trades as a career choice for young people that will have them consider it. Well, things around John Barsby Secondary School in Nanaimo are getting decidedly stinky right now. Here's why the school is hosting its annual manure sale in support of the football program. Members of the Barsby Bulldogs have piled more than 3,000 bags of manure, and proceeds from this fundraiser will help the Bulldogs purchase new equipment.
Yeah, we shoveled 10 dump truck loads, 3,600 bags. This is our biggest fundraiser of the year for the football program. What we do is we take the proceeds and buy uniforms and protective equipment for the boys. We don't travel with it, etc. And, it's a great team builder as well. You can have a lot of fun around that pile, actually. It's good camaraderie. It's neat watching the guys starting off as 8th graders holding the bags, and you work your way up the pecking order till you're a shoveler.
The Adiferous sale runs all weekend long. The team is also offering delivery service. If you'd like to buy a bag, drop by John Barsby's parking lot. That's just off Bruce Avenue in Nanaimo.